Banks provide financial services that deal with money transactions between many different accounts that they allocate, monitor, and secure and transact for. Banks cater for several types of customer, like large corporate businesses or private individuals who rely on banks to protect their money and the transactions that they make. One of the main business services offered by banks are customer withdrawals and deposits of money, and they use technologies like credit card and EFTPOS through technologies like ATMs and perform these transactions under the promise that the banks will protect it. Banks also provide the means to transact money between companies and individuals through store purchases and online purchases, which are also protected and managed through the banks. Thirdly, banks provide consultations regarding managing money and loaning money to clients and customers of the banks. These core services require a high level of security and privacy protocols to protect and allow them to function. In order to provide this level of security, banks have measures in place to find fraud and complex encryption of data, as well as intricate passwords and user authentication and PIN codes, security codes, all sort of security to impose the necessary security that banks require to operate. This is to protect the customers and clients against any loss and misuse of information under the bank's control. Different services that banks provide come under different workload types. A batch workload type is used when there are a large amount of data to be processed. This can be seen in workloads like preparing credit card bills for large databases of customers and processing the payments. Transactional workload types is a workload type that is for real-time transactions where there is an interaction with the end user during the process. This type can be illustrated in transactions between customers and ATMs, and the workload consists of performing a procedure that involves an input, a process, and then an output. Banks may not also use analytic workload types directly for their core services, but they do use them indirectly through areas such as compliance, security, and efficiency monitoring of their business, as well as targeted marketing based off of the information that was analysed. Banks use analytic workloads to discover new ways to improve their services and create efficient, cost-saving business strategy. Cloud computing is the idea of using hardware, software, and a range of services on demand from powerful computers owned by cloud providers based in another location. There are many benefits of using cloud computing for banking workloads due to factors like cutting down costs to scalability, flexibility, and efficiency in lack of complexity. Using cloud technology means that the banks don't have to invest in the hardware, software licenses, and technical experts working behind the scenes. They instead pay for the utility of the cloud services, only paying for what they use. Software as a service cloud technology is a beneficial model for non-core services since it allows the banks to use provider applications and they don't need to worry about maintaining them. Applications like AI and cognitive learning is accessible through software as a service, and a good example of this would be seen using the Watson artificial intelligence to perform analytic workloads for something like targeted marketing. For more core service workloads, banks would benefit more from the platform as a service or infrastructure as a service models, as it offers the banks more control over the specifics and as a result the security and privacy of the data. This used in conjunction with private or hybrid cloud models means banks can keep sensitive data within tighter security. Mainframes are renowned for their availability, security, speed, and zero downtime reliability. Major banks use mainframes for core transactional workloads like credit card transactions and ATM operations. These workloads require low latency instant response transactions under a secure and high-speed environment. Mainframes offer enormous amounts of processing power and can handle many dynamic scenarios proficiently. Another reason why banks use mainframe systems are their ability to process large amounts of data and produce valuable output. Banks use mainframes for running large and complex programs from payroll to things like archive processing. Batch workloads are run on mainframes because of reasons like reliable performance that is scalable to the size of the workload. The services that banks deliver specialize in sensitive information, hence why the security of this data is the largest focus for the banks. Using mainframes, this data is securely managed and controlled whilst also made available to those who have access to it. Cryptographic hardware acceleration and secure operating systems in mainframes allow the banks total control over the security and privacy. Banks use mainframes because they are very powerful in security and management whilst also remaining fast and reliable in performing core internal workloads.